Italian Cup racing at its very best this afternoon. The Giro dell Emilia, the 102nd edition of this venerable classic, which has become a real staple of the Italian Cup calendar. Hello and welcome to Bologna for the 102nd edition of the Giro dell Emilia and the 6th edition of the Giro dell Emilia Internazionale Donne, the women's race, the 6th time that this wonderful town of Bologna has played host to the very best women in Italian bike racing, and indeed some of the best riders from around the world, including the likes of Liso Longo Borghini. And it's a star-studded collection of riders. Canyon SRAM Racing, Park Hotel Valkenburg, with the breakout talent of Lorena Wiebes and Demi Vollering among their number. FDJ Nouvelle Aquitaine also taking part in this 98-kilometre bike race. WNT Rotor Pro Cycling Team, Great Britain registered, but now with significant input from Germany. Biscay Durango, Valcar Silence, Bigla as well. The Canyon SRAM squad, including Alice Barnes, the British national road race champion, road race and Team D time trial champion, and their sister Hannah also among their number. There's the Park Hotel Valkenburg squad with Demi Vollering and Lorena Wiebes, their star sprinting talent. And of course the Italian national squad as well, just 4 riders strong, somewhat slim in terms of the numbers of riders. They do have among their numbers Marta Bastianelli, star sprinter, and the Trek Segafredo squad, the ultra-professional Ale Cipollini as well, have enjoyed some great success in recent times. Have among their number Soraya Paladin, who's performed with great distinction in recent weeks. The pink squad with Tatiana Guderzo, former winner of this race and indeed the former world road race champion. And as I mentioned, the WNT Rotor squad with Enrique Magnaldi, hoping to do great things on home soil. And Amanda Spratt from the Mitchelton Scott squad, very strong lineup from the Mitchelton Scott team here in Bologna this afternoon. These the scenes as they set the riders on their way with 98 kilometres ahead of them. A long loop around Bologna, different course to the circuit that the men's event would also be racing at the same time. But a different loop, but ultimately ending in the same place at San Luca, the fabled climb of San Luca with the arches to the left. Bastianelli among those riders in beautiful autumn sunshine, looking forward and all smiles at the beginning of the day as they prepared for what many believed would be a final showdown on the finishing climb of San Luca. And as the race got underway, it was the Trek Segafredo squad that wanted to take control of the action and make sure that they were represented, with Anna Plichte doing some very solid work. And the Mitchelton Scott squad trying to get into position with Georgia Williams showing her considerable strength and ability to be able to wind it up, and riders getting involved in team order, in jersey order, and a little bit of a dust-off and a showdown between the Trek Segafredo squads and the Mitchelton Scott squads for trying to wrestle control of the front of the peloton. But quite the show of strength by the Trek Segafredo squad to get such an array of talent, such a number of riders close to the front. Liso Longo Borghini, of course, among their number. Audrey Cordon Rago. And this is Lotta Lepisto. What a rider to be able to call on as a domestique, a rider of considerable strength and ability. So it looks like Tanith Campbell just making her way through to the front of the bunch as well. A rider who's made a name for herself with great success in France. Latterly. And this is a shot of Marta Bastianelli, the former world road race champion and the current champion of Italy, in fine and prime position, close to the big showdown on the finishing climb. Audrey Cordon Rago, just 98 kilometres. It's less than half the length of the men's event, as is often the way of women's bike racing, and that's the way they've decided to play it. And of course it tends to make for a fast and frenetic bike race, and clearly the leading squads, the World Tour teams, as you might expect, trying to own this one. Monique Tenninglow, tall and imposing figure, trying to wrestle control, and it's little bit of a bun fight between the Trek Segafredo squads and indeed WNT Rotor, but now we've got FDJ Nouvelle Aquitaine starting to appear towards the front. Eugénie Duval among their number. Emilia Fallid also looking forward to the conclusion of this event. And of course the Valcar Silence squad will surely want to see what they can do with the Ilaria Sanguinetti. And the women's sixth version of this Giro dell'Emilia. Autumn one-day classics racing at its very best. And Team Sunweb now starting to time their arrival through to the front. This course substantially in and around the city limits. It's just done one big loop of Bologna with one small little circuit along the way that offered a couple of opportunities for intermediate sprints. Not that that's the main event. It's all about the climb up to San Luca. The Italian national squad, as I say, just 4 riders in their number, but Marta Bastianelli can call on Sofia Bertizzolo, Barbara Guarisci and Marta Tagliaferro for the assistance in getting into prime position for that final winch up to the climb of San Luca, which is just a little bit under 2 kilometers in length, but is considerably steep. Sections of 14%. And now we see the Mitchell & Scott squad lining up at the front. Will it be for Spratt, or will they have in mind the likes of Lucy Kennedy, who's shown some pretty good form towards the back end? Well, it's Spratt in second position here. Looks like Tenninglow on the front, just trying to control the pace. Quite a show of strength from the Mitchell & Scott squad. Italy lining up in third place. Team Sunweb have a couple of riders thereabouts. And Amanda Spratt just ensuring that she's in prime position. Of course, she went so close to the victory in the La Course by Le Tour de France earlier on this year in July, just ambushed by the big bunch, led in a huge charge to the line by great Marianne Vos on that occasion. Now the teams from Spain and other parts of the universe trying to appear close to the front. Still plenty of time, and still there's the sense that the washing machine hasn't stopped spinning. No team able to wrestle control for any length of time. All the squads lined up in jersey order, but no one really with any sense of being able to control it for any length of time. For all that, though, there seems to be a collective willingness to ensure that the pace is kept high to prevent any breaks establishing any sort of advantage before they get to this finishing climb. Trek Segafredo now in the blue and white on the right-hand side of picture, and the Team Sunweb squad. Those red colours, the white stripes, have Suzanne Anderson, Franziska Koch, Julia Soek, Juliette Labou, Liane Lippert and Floortje Mackay, the Dutch star, among their numbers. Well, not lacking in numbers close to the front as well. Trek Segafredo also showing well. And onto the climb as they make the left turn. It'll be familiar to viewers of Giro d'Italia earlier on this year, and suddenly the pace drops. The cadence, though, continues to be high as riders fight for a gear more appropriate to the very, very difficult gradient. And the Canyon SRAM squad start to take control close to the front. Elena Cecchini on the front for the Canyon SRAM squad, trying to present Elena Amilusek into perfect and prime position. Or perhaps Cecchini fancies this one herself. Wants to get into this climb as best she can and as quickly as possible. And it's already day over for so many riders in this field. Amilusek takes it up, presented perfectly by Cecchini. Elena Amilusek tracked up and into the climb. As the big hitters start to make their appearance. Elisa Longo Borghini for the Trek Segafredo squad. Close to, but not quite on the front at the moment. Riders labouring. They know the gear and the cadence that they need to. And can't always do it, even if you know what it is. It needs to be the Spanish national squad. Margarita Garcia represented well to the fore. Longa Borghini is playing a waiting game. It's a canny approach from the Italian star. Just waiting to launch her effort and happy enough to leave Emilia just suffer out there for a little while longer. For all that, though, Emilia is doing a great job of stretching this field thin, and aren't too many riders have the strength into these closing stages. The climb up to San Luca, well, it was an important pilgrimage over so many years for those that would come and visit the important religious relics hereabouts. It's a pilgrimage of sorts for cyclists as well, the world over. WNT represented in here as well, along with Canyon SRAM on the front, with Emilia. Garcia next up for the Spanish national squad, and then you've got Longa Borghini in perfect and prime position. And for WNT Rotor, it's the diminutive figure of Erika Magnaldi. She's got herself into a good position. Marta Cavalli for the Valcar Silent squad. Also well up as Garcia starts to make her move. Margarita Garcia Canedas pushing for home, but is it a little bit too early for this one? Well, certainly Longa Borghini believes that that's not the point to go, but you make the left turn here and it gets particularly steep. This is working your way into the steepest part of this climb. It shallows a little bit towards the back end. And Garcia has decided to go for glory, and she's got the gap. And it looks like a useful advantage, but she comes almost to a grinding halt as the gradient grips at well over 14% here. And behind, well, it's down to just a handful of riders that are still in contention for the victory. Oh, and she's absolutely almost at a grinding halt, and she can feel the other riders. She can feel the heat on the back of her neck. And she's struggling to keep the bike upright. It is absolutely grindingly difficult here as Vollering starts to make her appearance on the left-hand side for the Park Hotel Valkenburg squad. Elisa Longa Borghini looks in control of it as well. Looks like Lippert for the Sunweb squad, who's grinding away and staying in the saddle, as indeed is Vollering in the pink colours of the Park Hotel Valkenburg. The Dutch rider. There's another rider who's had a breakout season. Her teammate Lorena Wivas has been winning for fun all year, but there's a crash behind. Garcia finally just steps off, I think almost a relief. Still a kilometre to go. The toughest part of the climb has been dealt with to all intents and purposes, but how much does it take it out of the legs of these riders that have really been made to suffer? And well, they need to try and hope that they've hung on to something for a finishing kick. Lippert on the right-hand side for the Sunweb squad. Longa Borghini in the centre of the picture in the blue and white colours of the Trek Segafredo squad. And now Demi Vollering in the pink and dark colours of the Park Hotel Valkenburg squad is thereabouts. WNT Rotor with Magnaldi in fine form in the blue colours with the red sleeves, sitting in 4th position at the moment. But it's Vollering we focus on, the tall rider. Gets over the climbs extremely well. And Bigla Pro Cycling also represented and well up to the fore here as Vollering sets a tempo that not too many can follow. Lippert looks to maybe ride up and around her. Longa Borghini for Trek Segafredo is happy enough just to follow the tempo being set by Vollering at the moment. Lippert looks in control of this one. Sunweb rider just looking around her. Meanwhile, Vollering continues to look ahead and continues to lead. And they've started to detach themselves. The leading 4 with an advantage well inside the final kilometre now. And it's a fight behind to get back up and into this one. And how many riders are going to be able to make it up? Looks like Paladin, the rider for the Ale Cipollini squad in yellow, is just tracking this one and trying to get up and involved, and still Vollering has the unloved position of being on the front, but she doesn't seem to mind it too much. She hasn't looked around once. Well, there you go, and almost inevitably she has a little look around, more for research, I think. I don't think that was out of fear. Looks very much in control at the moment. Little injection of pace means Lippert is not quite able to follow this one. And Bigla Pro Cycling went into this race with Nikola Noskova, Czech rider who's a useful climber on her day. And Vollering continues to set a tempo and continues to be unconcerned as Lippert drops off the pace. And the rest are scrabbling for the minor positions behind. Paladin and the rest are surely not going to be able to get involved. And home hopes now seem to centre on the rider in the centre. As Elisa Longo Borghini for the Trek Segafredo squad continues to ride inside. There's the attack, and you knew it was coming. Elisa Longo Borghini goes for glory, and she's going to be difficult to beat from here. Elisa Longo Borghini has control into the final 200 meters. Only Vollering can follow. It's between these two riders. Longo Borghini goes again, and she will try and hang on for a glorious victory, but it's going to be nip and tuck, and I'm not so sure she's going to manage it. Longo Borghini is going to track her through to the finish as Debbie Vollering gets the victory for Park Hotel Valkenburg. She gets her hand in the air. She led up through so much of that finishing climb, and it's Debbie Vollering that gets the victory in Giro dell'Emilia as the scrap for the final positions continues, but no doubt about the rider that was first across the line, Debbie Vollering of Park Hotel Valkenburg, who looked so cool, calm and composed on that finishing climb of San Luca. And it's sixth edition of the Giro dell'Emilia that's it's establishing a rich heritage now. Let's get a look at this again. Well, the job was done by then. Elisa Longo Borghini looked like she had timed her attack, her final sprint to perfection, had the strength to go again, but Debbie Vollering was equal to that one, and it's a considerable scalp and a great victory and a great addition to the Palmares of this emerging Dutch star. Oh, Vollering accepts the congratulations and the accolades and the prizes. Much to celebrate for the winning trio as Debbie Vollering gets the victory ahead of Elisa Longo Borghini of Trek Segafredo, and Nikola Noskova of the Bigla Pro Cycling squad gets up for a fine and important third place finish. It's the sixth edition of an event. It was one of the first time back in 2014 by Rossella Ratto. String of victories for the home nation. Elisa Longo Borghini, twice the winner of this race, but this time she has to be satisfied with second position. So that's the women's event, victory for Debbie Vollering. We'll focus on the men's event coming up after this short commercial break.